What's up, everybody? It's Chad. I'm back again with another episode of Ask Chad Grassy Logic. This time I'm with my friend Donna. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yes, I'm happy to be here. Always happy.
Me too, and thank you, for, taking time out of your busy day, because I know you have a lot on your plate with what you got going on over there. We'll get more into that in a second, but thank you all again for joining me, and we'll get right into the episode. So for everyone watching and, all my listeners, could you introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure.
Or like who you are. I'm sorry, you already did your name, but who you are, what you do, and all that good stuff.
So my name is Donna, and I work for 420 Collections. Most people know me as Donna Marijuana because I'm everywhere. And I try to, soak up all the knowledge that everybody has when it comes to the cannabis industry. I'm right now just trying to lead the ship that is 420 Collections for my CEO, Miss Marvina Thomas. So she's got me running this big ship, and I'm just super excited to get it going and be in the waters already instead of just dipping my toes.
Yeah. You got that ship sailing, and it's going beautifully. So I'm sure we'll talk about more of that. And of course, collections for 420 Collections. I always flip it, my dyslexia. But I really want to dig into your past in the cannabis industry for a bit. So what got you started in the industry?
So in the industry was actually getting to know what could help, like my mom, because she's a breast cancer survivor. Yeah. So I really just wanted to get more knowledge on that, and I actually started with MJ Espresso.
Remember that? Oh wow.
Yeah. So I actually started with them, ironically, making drinks for them. So we were the first drinks in the market, especially here in Las Cruces. So with MJ Espresso, I got started with them, and then the ship just took off from there. And I think that was back in 2014, but I was involved with cannabis way before that. So, but MJ Espresso was literally where I got my start, and now it's just food and cannabis.
For those of you who haven't been around since the medical days, MJ Espresso is now Pure Life. They were bought out back during the medical days, and they've been that ever since. Oh, yeah. So that's cool. Yeah, you remember? Were you back when they were in Doña Ana?
Yeah.
When they had there. That's crazy because they weren't always here in town. They were in Doña Ana for a little bit, which is just right outside of Las Cruces. And it was always interesting to go there because it's like right next to a gas station. And there's like in a little nook of the whole little area. Yeah,
there's like I think there was like a Family Dollar. I was actually with them as a customer and a patient. Yeah. When they were in Doña Ana, and then I became their kitchen, I guess, when they moved to the Telshore location. Yeah. Which is now where clearly Pure Life is at.
Yeah. They stayed in the same building and everything. And, I remember going there during the medical days and all that. And, I really loved the staff. The staff was always great. You bring your dog in. They always ask, oh, where's Kush? And this and that. And had dog treats. So that was always cool. So, you said that you got involved in cannabis way before that. So, like a regular teenager kind of thing, or, like what got you using?
Actually, so I was totally against cannabis growing up. Yeah. I was actually a Dare ambassador. So I was very much against everything, and I was like, oh my god, my friends in high school, I'm pretty sure they're going to be watching this and being like, I can't believe she's actually doing this, because back in the day I was super against it, but we all bind ourselves with cannabis when we have to. So when I was much younger, my mom got diagnosed with breast cancer, and I slowly started seeing like a decline as like a teenager, and I was like, I couldn't see anything else helping her. And then I had a lot of folks telling me how cannabis had helped them out. So at that point, I kind of just threw myself into cannabis and just try to find every which way that I can help her. Yeah. And thankfully she's still here with us. So that's one of the main reasons that got me into it, was more of the medicinal side of it, because I didn't understand it. Yeah. I grew up with a whole bunch of people being like, just say no, and then, going that whole route. And then when things really happen, you kind of find yourself like, okay, this is a medicine. This is how we are going to use this, and this is how I'm going to pay back to it. Yeah. So everything that I'm doing now is just literally pay back for me as far as me as a person, because I still have my mom here. Yeah. So that's 1,000% why I'm so involved with everything that happens with with cannabis, especially with 420.
Yeah, that's dope. And, thank you for sharing that, because, I like getting into people's backgrounds where they really got into cannabis and what really brought them in, because everyone has their story, and sometimes it's just money, but most of the time, actually majority of the time, it's either a loved one, they were suffering something from themselves, like me, PTSD kind of thing. And I never really had a negative opinion on cannabis. I just didn't know enough about it to have a negative opinion about it back in the day. So I held just a neutral opinion, didn't know enough. I remember the DARE education and what little BS that we got. And it wasn't until I really started researching did I really find out how much we were lied to. And how much of this reefer madness really controlled the market, and Gino just sitting here listening for 3 years, I'm sure he's heard all about it, and every side of the argument and everything. But let's start talking about Collection 420 now. Like, how long have they been around?
So 420 Collections has been.
See, I did it again.
It's okay. No, it happens to me more than I'd like to admit. So it's all gravy. I actually didn't even notice it until you just said it right now.
Yeah.
So it's all gravy. No, so 420 Collections. So Marvina, which is our CEO, Marvina Thomas, she actually created 420 Collections because she has been, she loves learning about like Egyptian in beauty and how it all has started. She really took in that like Cleopatra. Like if you look at the history, Cleopatra is rumored to like use CBD products back then as a beauty regimen. So Marvina kind of took that on, and she actually started making a bar of soap to help heal somebody that she knew that had a serious accident. So she started with that, and then so she has a CBD shop right now in Glendale, Arizona. But as far as 420 Collections as a dispensary, it's been here in Las Cruces for, I'm gonna say now we're going on 3 years. And it's been a crazy ride, but we love it. And being able to be part of the cannabis industry now and being able to have a people over profit mentality is what 420 is all about. So everything that we do is it with how we can help the community in mind. Yeah. So that's actually one of the main reasons why I got with 420 was because I did my research and I just thought that it was amazing, all the things that Marvina had been doing and is doing right now. So it's just really nice to have a mentor like that to be able to, be like, okay, so this is what I want to do. And they say that the people that you're around, you end up becoming. So that's pretty much where 420 and me kind of came together. Yeah. Yeah. So.
And you've been there for a minute, and you've been really working hard, and, if y'all didn't know, they have a consumption lounge called the Lit Lounge, and I'm there several times a week. Damn
me
you.
Too. I'm like, me too.
Yeah, dig it. It's a great atmosphere. I love it. You all did such an amazing job. You knocked it out of the park, and to be honest, the community feels that too, especially with the events that you've been holding locally. And I feel that having the consumption lounge gave her and you all more the ability to do that. Yes. You can get the community more involved and have them there for other all right, come see these vendors. Okay, see you later. Like I was there for like 3 hours, just with that one event. So, it's great to see that for the community, and the fact that you guys listen to the community. That's like the most important part is a lot of the business owners, they don't listen to the community. It's like, I want to do this, I. When it's they want this, they see this, they have the money. They're the ones giving me the money. So it's not what I want, it's what they want. Yeah. And y'all went to that they part, and it shows, thank you. It's very welcoming. You don't have to make a purchase when you go in. No. And that's one of the things that really sticks you all apart. For some reason, a lot of other people went to the route where you have to purchase something before even going into the consumption lounge, which is new for any market, really. I was trying to think, I was like, who does that? What market really does that other than like the movie theaters, where you have to buy a ticket before you go in? That's the only thing I can think of, like a bar doesn't do that. Dave and Buster's doesn't do that, Buffalo Wild Wings doesn't do that, oh no. Yeah. I don't know how many times I was a bartender there for years, and I don't know how many times I had a person come to the bar and they got water, but the person they were with ran up a $75 tab. Yep. So, there's
all
that
hospitality.
Thing. Exactly. And you and I've had this conversation before, and this is not one of the first times y'all have heard it, but one of the few times I've said it, that consumption lounges are hospitality; they're not retail, and that's a firm belief, because even bars are hospitality, not retail. So you have to take that same kind of thought process. How do they make money? How do they get around it? Because it's not retail. You're not Walmart. Like you have to have the entertainment. You have to have being welcome and everything. So how do you guys really accomplish that?
So honestly, we were listening to what a lot of people were saying on the consumption side. Yeah. I've gone to many events in Albuquerque, and I have amazing relationships with the consumption lounges over there. I go to Stone Desert. I go to Enchanted Botanicals. I've gone to Thrive, Oasis. Like all of these places have some amazing lounges. But we did put our heads together, and we were like, okay, what could we do different? Yeah. That makes it more welcoming. Yeah. And actually, I was listening to one of your podcasts, and actually one of your Instagram stories, and a lot of people were really moving towards that of why do we have to buy something when we go through retail and then have to go back? And then I think the part that really got me was, why do I have to keep on going back and forth? Yeah. When I want to be comfortably right here with my friends. Yeah. You come back to the conversation, you're like, I just lost like 4 minutes or 10 minutes of this conversation. Sometimes it's just like, I just want to be able to enjoy it, smoke, my dude. Yeah. So we were really like, okay, is it really going to affect our overhead if we do that? And honestly, it has not. It's amazing. And to be completely honest, it works out for us because we do have the restaurant attached to it. And then we also do try to have more of that hospitality rules versus retail rules. So we're very much about listening to our patients, our customers. We have a suggestion box because we want to hear what everybody is. Yeah. This is a place that we want you guys to feel like home. We also want you to feel comfortable to be able to invite your friends, to be able to invite your family. I love seeing people bring their parents, their grandparents, their cousins.
I've brought my parents.
Yeah, exactly. And I brought my mom too, and my sister goes there a lot too. So I love having a space that is welcoming to the point where you can bring like your grandparents. Yeah. And you're able to enjoy yourself in a way where you're like, you don't feel like, oh man, like I'm still kind of just smoking undercover. And it's like, no, not really. We want you to be able to have a fun time, be able to enjoy yourself, be able to eat something, and still have that hospitality that you would see at like Bubba's or like at any other like Buffalo Wild Wings. So the one other thing that we also were really wanting to do is have a space for micros, for MSOs to be able to show their product, because the one thing that we really want to do is try out the product. Yeah. So we wanted to create a space where we can be with the community. So if there's no unity without community. Yeah. So that's really big. We're really big on that. Yeah. So with doing that, we're able to provide a space for them, and it's you help me, I help you, we help us type of situation. So that's really what we've been gearing towards with what we're doing with 420 and the Lit Lounge, and we were able to actually do that with last week's event. So that was pretty awesome.
Well, let's talk about that, a little bit. I'm sure, some people have questions about what we're talking about. They successfully had a cannabis farmers market. It was cool. There was a bunch of micro producers that were there from around the area and the state. And they brought their products, they put into the system. You went and you got a penny sample and got as many that they had, really, like little dog walkers, it was really 0.25, really little joints. You got to, just sample it. And then they had their product there to purchase too. So if you got to sample it, you figure out, okay, I like this one. Oh no, I like this one more. Yeah. It's not that much of a loss. It was a penny, and so you get to sample it out. And then you get to buy it. And I did. I ended up buying one of the Gorilla Fingers, from...
Big F and Trees.
Big F and Trees, yes. The ladies over there, they're doing a good job.
Yeah.
Shout out to y'all. Yeah, shout out to y'all. Y'all doing a good job. And to be honest, I'm not a big blunt person these days, but, it was a fun smoke. you know, it was a little nostalgic for me because I wasn't expecting it to be a blunt because there was nothing that indicated that I could see, or maybe it's on there and I missed it. But I opened it, I was like, oh, it's a blunt. I was like, we don't smoke these, but fuck it, whatever. You know, like, you know, every now and then.
Yes.
So, and it could be a hemp wrap too. I don't know. Okay, so yeah, I kind of figured. I was like, you know, it could be a hemp wrap too, which makes you feel better.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to know that, you know, it's a hemp wrap. But, you know, yeah, you know, it was cool to see stuff like that because I've never seen their product before, you know, and I've never seen it locally. So it gives them an opportunity to get out there more. And that was so cool to see. You know, Jeffrey from High Lonesome was there, you know, showed his stuff out and, you know, getting his stuff out there. And, you know, did you guys get the gorditas by any chance?
Yes, we did. We actually have them on deck now. We got them at the consumption lounge, and it's a new product that we like to carry.
Cool.
So,
and that gives you an opportunity to see what else is out there too for the lounge. Because I feel the lounge is a great place to really try things out too. You know, because you can do a dab for $5, you know, a couple bucks, you know, whatever, and try something out and then see if you want to go from there. Because before they leave, they can just say, well, I want a gram of that before I head out. And totally possible.
Exactly. And that was actually one of our favorite things. And we went and through like a fine-tooth comb on how we can make this happen. Because I do feel like it's important for you to be able to know what a product is going to do to you. A lot of us are in the medical side of it. We want to know the effects. We want to know how we're going to feel. And sometimes when you buy an eighth, you're like, oh man, I'm kind of stuck with this. Not that it's bad or anything like that. It's more like, what was your experience? If you are more of an indica person and you wanted to try it out sativa and then you're stuck with this like coffee punch high, you're like, oh man, like I don't know if I want to be able to use this. But if you have somewhat of something to be able to give some feedback on, then you kind of have an idea of what you're going to be getting yourself into. And I think that that's a beautiful thing for growers to be able to tell the consumer about their product, because nobody's more passionate about their own product than the person that's growing it or the person that's doing that. So I feel like that's an important conversation that should be happening between our farmers and our consumers, because at the end of the day, the questions that they have, the best person that can answer that is the person that grows it. Yeah. And I love being able to have that that availability to be able to get that information. Yeah. Especially it's right there in front of you.
Directly there. Yeah. Exactly. And I love it. And, you know, not many places have done something like this that we have. They've done like a farmer's market, but, you know, coupling it with a consumption lounge is just perfect. You know, it's a perfect recipe for many things. And I love it, you know, and it was such a fun time. You know, I got to see a bunch of faces I haven't seen in a long time. Met new faces, of course, too. That was the best part. And of course, just enjoyed a good time. You know, like, oh, did you try this one thing? Yeah. How'd you like it? You know, you get in that conversation and everyone starts talking about it. And then now you guys get a new product that you get to sell to people, because, you know, I do enjoy the gordita sometimes from Jeff, you know, so I will probably pick one up while I'm there. You know, and it's a good sesh joint to have, you know, because usually when I'm there with a few people. So, you know, we're a session the whole time, whatever, you know, or drinks too. We'll get onto that in a little bit in the drinks. I got a whole little segment for y'all on that one. I don't want to spoil it. But yeah, you know, it was a really cool event, and, you know, I'm excited to see what other new events that you guys have. So what's the plans for the, you know, new events at the lounge?
So right now what we got going on is, we have bingo nights, which is more on the like softer end, but you know, we bring the community out. We get to have you guys come out there. We have been having our senior Saturdays where we have the seniors come out, get a little education on what we got going on. We show them everything but dabs. We try to take our time with that one, just because that's a concentrate.
No, yeah, and
we want to make sure. Yeah, we want to make sure that we're not, you know, going against any of the medications that they may be on. So it's really about education on topicals, on flower, edibles, whatever questions they may have. We make it a safe space for us to be able to do that. Yeah. We are going to be having a event pretty soon, actually, for our veterans that are coming for the Death Memorial March.
Oh, I found out it's Bataan.
Yeah, I had no clue. I actually just learned that myself as well.
Yeah.
So I don't want
Lady in Hawaii corrected me when I said baton. She thought I was Filipino, got mad at me. I was like, I don't know, lady.
Yeah, no. So I actually just found that out myself. So we are having an event for them as well on the 21st and the 22nd for those veterans that do participate or want to learn more about it. We're pretty much having open house so that they could go ahead and check it out, meet other veterans. I know that there's a lot of people that are coming from all around the world, so this is a brand new experience. It's so the march is on March 22nd. We are going to be having those events on the 21st and the 22nd.
I'll be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I got to support my battles.
Yeah. So, and we're just pretty much making it an open house so that they could check it out, have an awesome place to smoke, get something to eat if they're hungry. And you guys obviously get some pretty awesome discounts with us as well. So that day will actually be one of those where we're going to go ahead and it's a surprise, but we're going to have a few things for you guys to be able to enjoy and be able to have those open conversations with other veterans who aren't a part of this or haven't been able to be or see the industry because they live in states that don't have anything like this. Yeah. So I feel like this is a perfect opportunity for us to be able to engage with them and then be able to, reach horizons we haven't been able to touch. For all we know, we might be able to talk to a vet who lives in a state that this isn't welcome and they feel like this is something that they could start doing for their state. It's an open conversation always creates the opportunity to create something even bigger from it. And
I was just thinking of this. My dad helps veterans get their VA benefits, and if you want, I can see if you'd be available to show up for this and maybe help some veterans get theirs.
I would love that. That would be amazing. And then we're also, I was talking with a few people in Albuquerque that we could possibly bring some doctors out so that they could go ahead and get their medical cards as well.
2 in 1
on the house. Yeah. So we're trying to really create a safe space for all of that. So that's one of the bigger events that we're going to be having. Here on the 9th, we're actually going to be having a meet and greet with some of the members of Bone Thugs and Harmony.
Oh, that's cool.
So we're going to have them over. We're going to be able to have a awesome space for you to have some fun. As far as like other events, we have so many planned out for the year, all the way up to, I think we already have everything up to like Christmas.
Oh, wow.
So for right now, we're taking our time with the community and seeing what suggestions they want to see, what do they want to get out from and be able to enjoy with us. So like we have cornhole tournaments coming up. We have Fortnite, Super Mario Bros. We got Mortal Kombat. We have Mortal Kombat. We got Call of Duty. So we have a whole bunch of different tournaments that we're going to be doing. So this Saturday and this Sunday, I believe we're going to be doing I want to say that it's this shows you my age because it's been a minute. The last time that I played any games was Call of Duty with the zombies. Mm-hmm. So I know that we wanted to do that. Oh yeah. Yeah, that's been a minute. Yeah. But yeah, I know that we're doing I want to say that we're doing Super Mario and Mortal Kombat this weekend. So I'm super excited about that, and we have a lot more things planned out. But like I said, the more that we hear back from the community, the more we can see what we can do for you guys. Because ultimately, Crucis is open to be able to have some pretty awesome events with a lot of unfortunate closures that have been happening. I feel like this is a open conversation that we can all have, where we could be like, okay, what does Crucis want? What would you guys like?
Yeah.
Talk to me.
Exactly, and that's great to hear. Because like I said, not a lot of places listen to what their consumers have to, say and what they want. It's just like, no, I'm gonna do this because I want this. Like, okay, my bad.
We are more about being able to have, like I said, and I keep on saying, the space where you feel like your friend's house, your best friend's house, where you would go in there, you'd smoke, you'd watch some TV. I mean, there's times that we have Bob's Burgers playing in the background.
Yeah, it's pretty funny.
Yeah, and then we also allow our customers when they come in, if it's a good night and it's some pretty good music, let me know what you want to listen to. We could put it up there. I mean, like for your birthday.
I was going to say, my birthday, you guys put my reggae music, island reggae music. I was like, oh, this is dope. Like so many of the songs, it was great. A lot of nostalgia.
Yes. It's honestly, we're just wanting to really be more a part of our community. And it's clearly happening. Yeah. And I can't thank Crucis, El Paso, Albuquerque, just everybody enough for coming out and even checking us out, giving us a chance, and saying all these wonderful things, because that means that we're doing something right. Yeah. So
no, I agree. Y'all are, even one of the employees the other day, I told her, I said, you know what? Your customer service is on point, dude. I was like, on point. She was like, thank you. And I was like, yeah. No, I mean, it's rare these days.
Yeah.
to see customer service that on point. Like I had a question. She's like, I can replace it if you want. I was like, no, I was just asking about it. I was like, thank you though. I was like, damn.
Yeah, we all have the same love for what we do, and we're all passionate. I actually want to say, and they've given me permission to say this, but we all have our medical cards as well. So we all have experienced the customer side of stuff. So we genuinely try to reach for the stars with that. If there's something that we don't know, we do ask for answers or we look for it. Yeah. We don't just try to assume that we know everything. And that's what I love about my staff. They're the reason why we make stuff happen. Yeah. So shout out to you guys. You guys do an amazing job.
They're rocking. And one thing I thought about right now is when you work at a consumption lounge, you're not a tipped employee. Well, you can get tips, but you're not making the $2 an hour. Yeah. You're making like a bud tender wage. So, I mean, this is great for them too. Yes. They're not sitting here having to crazy hustle, whatever. They could get to actually take their time, educate, figure out what they want, have a good time with it, not being stressed about, am I going to make rent this week because I didn't hustle enough, and I didn't, try to sling this rosin that person didn't want, but I pushed it on them, you're not forcing people on that. And that shows that, that the tipping culture is kind of something that we can go away from, like it doesn't have to be that way. And, this is a success story for that.
Yes. And we actually have our employees get tipped as well.
Yeah. So that's great.
We find that that's the best way, because honestly, this is your time that you're also putting in, giving people information, or also learning from the customer.
From the service.
Yeah. So it's awesome that we're able to do that for them. They do an amazing job, and I couldn't be happier with the team that I got. They are honestly the heart of the whole operation. And the way that I look at it is, they know, and we always say it when we're out there, we always look at it from the customer and the patient side. So we always try to do that. I mean, are we human? Are there human errors? Of course. But we always try to, I'm not going to say make up for it, but we don't fall back, we fall forward. Yeah. So when we fall forward with our foot on the ground, and we're ready to pick ourselves back up. So I love that we are able to do that. And it's still a learning experience for all of us. Yeah. And I wouldn't choose a different crew with that. Yeah. So
how did the owner enjoy, the event and everything? She must have had a blast.
Oh, she loved it. And she loves being able to speak with the community. She knows how deep rooted we're really trying to be, and we're trying to really put our roots into the soil and just make ourselves stick. And I can already see that. So she is, honestly, I feel like right now she feels like she has the best team. We have really good outcomes with what we've been doing with the community. So I feel like I'm at a loss for words, because she just felt like what we're trying to do with the community is exactly what we're doing. Yeah. So we're not trying, we're doing. Yeah. I agree. And seeing the outcome with the Micro Cannabis Alliance, and seeing the outcome with a lot of the events that we've had, it's just a perfect example that when you listen, they do come. Yeah. So it's an amazing thing to be able to show our CEO, like, this is what we're doing, and this is how we want to keep on helping the community here in Cruces. And she's all for it. And she's listening. She's making sure that my ears are always on what's happening out here and what you guys want to see. So just to be able to have a space to be able to do that is awesome, because I don't think we've been able to have something like this, but we're all about collaboration. Yeah. And that's where I want to keep on taking this. So anybody that sees this that wants to like work with us, let's get it. Let's do it. Dope. Down for it.
Heck yeah. Well, I appreciate that. And before we move on, I wanted to mention the Bataan Death March for those of you who aren't from New Mexico or don't know. It's a death march pretty much remembering a bunch of soldiers. I believe it was World War II. And actually, it was a National Guard unit from New Mexico that had the most people that were on this. And they were literally pretty much marched to death. And it was a very terrible thing. And, we commemorated it, every year with this march where anybody, but mostly military members, go and they do this. I think it's a 50 or 25 mile march. And they do it here in the middle of the desert. The conditions are very harsh. Not everybody makes it, finishes it. A lot of people fall out, but it's one of the things that they all do. It's kind of like a pastime thing. I grew up with it my whole life, so I never wanted to do it. So when I joined the military, people would always ask me like, "Oh, did you ever do the baton?" At the time, I didn't know it was Bataan. And I'm like, no. And they're trying to give me a do. I'm like, no, I'm good. I did the 20-mile ruck march in basic. I'm good for a lifetime.
Yeah.
Screw that. But, to the ones that do it, my hat's off to you guys.
Yes.
You're doing it for a good reason, remembering the people that served. And, and it's a historical thing because, that was a lot of people from New Mexico that were a part of that.
Yes.
So it's cool that you guys are doing that too. I just wanted to throw that out there. I forgot to mention it earlier. I was like, oh wait, there's people who probably don't know what that is. So yeah, that's what the Bataan Death March is. If you want to join it, I'm sure there's information online where you can, join the Bataan Death March. But they're going to have something at their lounge. And thank you so much for, having this conversation with me on the lounge, which you guys got going on yourself. But let's jump over to the NM Legis update. And we're going to finish that up. But is there anything else you want to mention before we move on?
Honestly, just thank you, Las Cruces, for showing up and for keeping us up to date with everything as well. Give us ideas on drinks. We want to be able to see what we could do for you guys as far as what new stuff do you guys want to see. I want to hear about it, and let's make it happen.
Oh, definitely.
We are having some new mocktails out. We'll be having them out in the next week. So we'll have everything from, I believe, margaritas to like some cherry bombs to whole bunch of new different drinks that we'll have in line. So
cool.
Yeah.
So it's not just gonna be the juices, which I love, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But you're gonna have a variety, so I love that. And you know what? We'll get on that conversation towards the end of the show because I have a whole segment and we can talk all about it because I'm excited, about the drink stuff. I love the drinks. So let's get on to the NM Legis website. That's what I've been using a lot these days, the NM Legis update. So as of right now, there's a bunch of stuff going into the legislature. I know last week it was kind of and last couple of days, to be honest, has been kind of slow, but things are picking up. And I got some updates for y'all. So you guys remember that HB 346, the synthetic hemp, banning all those products? Remember how it was dead? No, that zombie of a bill might be coming back. I got word yesterday that it's most likely going to be heard in the House Commerce Economic and Development Committee. Again, they're going to try to revive it. I'm not sure what the arguments are going to be or what's going to happen. I just got word that that's most likely going to be the case. Now, what this bill does is it bans all the synthetic and semi-synthetic cannabinoids that are derived from hemp, delta 8, O, HHC, etc. Now, if you make these products through a natural process, which there's in such small, minute quantities that you need so much material, it doesn't really make sense. That won't be illegal. However, one thing this bill does is it also makes possession of these illegal too. So now we're going back to criminalizing people for this product. And now I have to prove to the police that the product that I have isn't hemp-derived delta 8O or HHC. So it seems a little silly that we're doing this. Yeah, it's a little backwards. Now we're criminalizing people once again for a product that we've fought so hard to legalize just because we don't agree with the way these products are made. And I'm one of them. But that doesn't mean that we should be telling people what they should do because at the end of the day, these are federally legal. They can buy this online. They can buy it from another state. El Paso's just right there.
Oh, yeah.
And they're just going to do the flip-flop because these people aren't going to switch from Delta 8O to regular THC cannabis. They're just going to go online. They're just going to buy these products and they're going to send it home and risk again.
Yep, there's always a way. There's always a way that they're going to find a way around it. But to just start to regulate something that has already been around, that is... I think right now I feel like we're going backwards when people are like, oh, I made a 360. And you're like, you mean 180? That's what we want. We want 180, not a 360.
It's like we're a salamander that just regrew its arm. And it's like, man, I'll never stick my hand in an alligator's mouth again. And then we see a crocodile. And we're like, what's that? And we stick our hand in it again. That's literally what we did. We didn't learn from our mistake at all.
Correct.
That banning things does nothing at all because now your local neighborhood friendly plug, he's going to be making a lot of money on these products because he can buy them by bulk online and just slang it all day. And it's going to be easier than him trying to get products from California or whatever, and do it that way. These products are federally legal. There's no way that they can enforce this online. And they even said that during the last committee hearing that there's no way we can enforce this. So I'm kind of confused why they're still pushing for this because all this does is creates a criminal network again, and it raises more stigma on the cannabis, does nothing for that. And it just is a bad bill. Like, I get it. We don't like these products, but at the same time, there's nothing we can do about it if it's federally legal, because there's just nothing we can do. And to be honest, like, we shouldn't be doing this because the only people that are going to suffer are the, minorities of New Mexico. We're going to be back to going. And per usual. And now, like I said, I'm going to have to convince the cop who pulls me over that I'm not smoking Delta 8 or I don't possess any Delta 8 because there's no smell difference between the two. Like, you can't tell me one, even hemp, all of these, you can't tell which one has THC or which one's a banned substance.
Yep.
So now we're muddying the waters even more, adding more. And it kind of worries me, something for this. So what's your kind of thoughts, so far?
I think that's, so it kind of also puts our law enforcement in a weird situation.
Yeah.
Because right now they're not necessarily looking at our cannabis and thinking, oh, is this, or this? But we also don't know what kind of education our law enforcement has on cannabis.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one of those things that it's more of a personal view. And I'm super against personal views when it comes to your profession when you're in law enforcement, just because what you may feel personally is not necessarily law, but what you're bringing in as far as what you're educated on with cannabis or with cannabis just in general, what you know about it is mostly personal, and possibly training that could be, because we don't know these things. It's not like this is something that's open to us or what we know on what they're educated on, but for all we know, they may still be in what we just talked about, the dare stages of, well, we don't want you guys doing this because it's reefer madness. Yeah. So to be able to bring them back and then say to now look at our stuff, it's going backwards, and it's doing the 100 steps that we took to get from point A to point B. It's taking us like 200 steps back. Yeah. Which I find ironic and also a little bit saddening, just because it's just like, okay, so we've done all of this just so you can come back to this. And I could see where, you want to make sure that there's public safety, but I promise you, I feel like there's a much more bigger fish in the sea to fry when it comes to the safety of the people of New Mexico. I can guarantee you that right now, Delta 8 is not something that is as big of a discussion as like our homeless problem or bigger things that we could be focused on helping our folks with mental health. Yeah. So to be able to focus on this and not on that, it's like watching a snake in the grass and being like, no, but letting the fire happen in the back.
Yeah,
it
exactly.
Makes absolutely no sense.
Yeah, it doesn't, because just bigger problems come from this. And this is a heavily backed bill by the corporation companies. Now, there's some cannabis businesses that are backing this too, but the reasoning is that they're not going to be able to make it because these products are taking money from them. I'm like, well, that's not fair. You have local New Mexican businesses that are making money off of this, and you're just telling them, no, you don't get to make the money because I'm not making all the money. That's not fair. Exactly. I get it. The cannabis industry people are, having a hard time, but it's not these people fault, the fault of these people that these products are federally legal. Correct. And they haven't fixed that issue or done anything about it really essentially yet. Yeah. So, that's the case. That's how it's going to be until something changes or whatever. And to be honest, we need to mix all of this stuff together, because at the end of the day, the only difference between cannabis and hemp is a percentage, a percentage number that's arbitrary to start with.
And like a molecule, which is placed like a 1/10 of a degree, a little bit lower.
Yeah, exactly. We're really making this more confusing, and it doesn't make any sense to me, because you have just a product that just needs regulation. It needs to be regulated more. It doesn't need to be banned, because we're going to shoot ourselves in the ass. And the reason why I'm saying that is because they can use these same exact arguments that they're using for hemp and that the cannabis people are using too for cannabis. Yep. So the legislature can go on later, and they will, because they do this all the time. They say, well, we did this for hemp, why not do it for cannabis? Because they already think that we're getting special treatment as is. And they're already making those arguments a lot of the time. So they're going to, and I'm not saying this could be a possibility, they will use these same exact arguments to crack down on cannabis even further. And they're even going to have a police force to get all this off the streets and everything and out of the stores. So this just doesn't make any sense, and is a waste of resources. So
it really is, especially with the money that the cannabis industry has brought in. Again, there's a lot of different things that could go towards instead of something like this. Yeah. And to break down something that it's like building what is it that they say when don't rebuild the wheel, it's already there. Yeah. You don't have to go back to that. And I totally agree with you. They will use the same language that they use for this bill to be able to do something else with cannabis. Yeah. And right now I feel like cannabis is really up in the air with the new administration. And I really hope that we're keeping up with making sure that cannabis is still something that we can all succeed in and do what we need to do with, and patients and customers are able to get what they need from it. But I do feel like exactly what you're saying, where it's like once they use this language, it's not going to stop them from trying to do something else with cannabis. And we should always feel like cannabis is always on the chopping block. And just because we have it now, we have to keep on fighting for that freedom to be able to do that.
100%. And, that's not going to change anytime soon until we change our minds. And, the industry is already overregulated, and this just adds more regulation over it that doesn't need to be there. So that was that bill. Contact your representatives, let them know on this bill. There's really no way that they can enforce this. So long as we can buy these online, these people aren't going to go to your dispensary. They're just going to buy it online and then call it a day from there. And the state's just going to lose out on the tax revenue they've been making from these products. Exactly. Well, sad for us, I guess. So moving on, the next bill, I got another one after this, one more. This is the County Petition for Cannabis License Pause. Now, this is for production only. This isn't for retail. So if this passes, then the counties can petition to the CCD to pause licenses 2 years at a time with no limit how many times they can do it. So effectively, they can close production in that area forever. Yeah. Now, to me, this is a terrible bill because we already have something in the Cannabis Regulation Act with this. I've said this before, where the CCD is supposed to look at the plant counts every year and see if those are the right plant counts for what we need right now in the market. The market has changed in the demand, so the plant count should change. They're at 20,000 right now. And that's an emergency rule that happened in 2022. Yep. They changed it, they got sued or whatever. But things are different. And instead of using what we already have as a safeguard, they want to create a new one, which creates even more confusion without taking out the other one that's already there. So you're telling me that the safeguard we put in isn't going to work for what reason? Because you got sued once? I understand why the lawsuit happened the first time. Is because we did need more cannabis. Yeah. But the bill says clear as day, they knew exactly what they were doing when they got into this industry. Your plant counts will change if you are not a micro. Micros are the only ones who aren't touched with this. They get a lot of actual good special treatment. It's because that's our social equity. That's our form of social equity here in New Mexico, really, is the micro licensing and the price of the licensing. So they do get some special treatment, but they're not big corporations. They don't have a lot of that money. The tax per plant thing, we can talk about that at a different time. I'm not a big fan of the $5 tax fee. Yeah. That's a little ridiculous. Yeah. For the bigger licenses, but pausing licenses does nothing. It does only good things for the corporations, and the corporations are backing this heavily. Now, there are some cannabis businesses that are backing this too, but I think it's some of the certain counties in the state that are backing this. And I think one of the sponsors is a county where they had a lot of issues with the illegal grows. That doesn't fix anything with your illegal grows when you pause licenses. They still come up because they're illegal. So this does nothing for that. And all you're doing is you're just giving the corporations another foot up on the small guys. This is a terrible bill for small businesses. And that's really where we've gone with this bill. And actually, this bill could be being heard right now. Before I came in, they're supposed to hear the bill at the time of recording on the Senate Judiciary Committee. So I have no clue what's going on with this. So I don't know if it's pass, fail, or what. I did email all the members of the committee my stance on this, which is essentially what I'm telling you here. So hopefully I got a bunch of other people that should be doing public comment too. So hopefully we can get to their minds and get them to understand that this makes no sense when we already have something in place that we're not using because of fear. And because we may get sued. If you get sued, so what? They should know that their plant counts are going to change. It says it clear as day in the law. But now we're going to create a law which will cause more lawsuits again. More people will start doing lawsuits. So you're going to get sued either way. And another reason why this isn't a good idea is New Mexico decided not to have an opt-out clause for retail and production and manufacturing and stuff. Well, a lot of other states, including California and Colorado, which are seen as these liberal states, 75% of the cities opted out. And so only 30% of the cities sell cannabis in both of those states. Yeah. And so New Mexico, we're probably going to see a 40 to 40 something plus of that happening because there are towns and counties in the state that just do not like cannabis and they hate the fact that they couldn't opt out. And it's not even the fact that the residents don't want it there. It's the fact that their representation in the city hates it, or they're bought off by someone else, some other big, dispensary that's in the area or something like that. Roswell is one of them that comes to mind. They'll probably be one of the first ones to do that because they can, the people that they help are going to corner the market. Yep. I'm worried about this because if this does pass, it's going to be harder for the smaller guys. And I've told you guys this before, be careful what you ask for when it comes to the legislature, because you could get the worst form of it when it comes to what you get. And this is it, because all of you kept asking for retail, pause on retail. You didn't get retail, you got production. So now you shot yourself in the foot because even though the retail isn't closed, you're still probably going to lose, because how are you going to sell anything if there is nothing? Yep. You know, if there's less production, or if there's only a few places to get it from, how are you going to survive? Because now we just lowered the pool of how much cannabis can be in the state when it comes to craft or not, by a lot. Yep. And this is going to hurt us, because those people that are here right now, they're not going to be here in 5 years. We're still leveling out. So if we do this, no one's going to replace those people, because there's no limit on how many times they can do this. So now that I blabbed on, you know, what are your thoughts on this?
I was honestly going to say that when you, I've learned, especially with being in the industry and wanting something, you have to be very, very obvious and in writing. Put exactly what it is that you're looking for and what you're wanting.
Yeah.
Because when you ask the government to do something, it's like a genie. And it's like those movies where you're going to ask the genie for $1 million and they'll give you $1 million. But the backside of it is that you lost your complete, like all of your family.
Yeah. That's the best way to think of it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's exactly what I was going to say. Like well, you have to be very specific on what you want and ask for it in that detailed legal jargon that they use. And that's why bills are like yay high.
Yeah.
Is because you have to be very, very like explanatory on what it is that you're wanting. And I feel that is perfect way that you put it was shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you're asking for stuff, you have to be able to really reiterate, say it in as many ways as you can, and say that this is exactly what we're looking for. We're not talking about these parts. We're talking about this part. But whenever the government has a chance to be able to do something about something that they already feel a certain type of way about, I can already see the basically what they would be saying back.
Yeah.
So yeah, a good example is like us in trying to do the Clean Air Act. You have to be very specific on how it is that you're wanting. Put the evidence that you have on why you support this. So like for us, it's outdoor consumption.
Yeah.
So if things like this are able to get changed up, things like that are able to get changed up. So we just have to be very wary. And I myself, I've been telling myself this, that we need to get more involved, especially those of us in the industry, because I saw your post where you're like, I'm calling you guys out, and I'm like, yes, call me out, because we should be more involved with it. At the end of the day, these are our businesses. These are the businesses that we work for. And if we want to keep on going, we have to see how is it going to affect us? Because one domino falling down doesn't mean that it's not going to affect you. We don't know how it's going to affect us.
Yeah.
So although for those of us that want this to pass, like it's not everything that glitters is gold.
Yeah.
So just be very mindful of how we're gonna process this, and how is this going to affect the rest of the market if it does go through.
Yeah, because the legislature is favoring this right now because they just see the issues going on, and this is like a quick fix or whatever. But this does nothing. This only helps the corporations that are out of state, and we keep complaining, and they keep championing our micros, but this hurts the micros. This does nothing but harms New Mexicans throughout the whole state. Yeah. We're seeing from other states that we're doing this in a right way. Now, some other ones may disagree, like Oregon, maybe in Washington, but they have more water than us.
Oh, yeah. Definitely more water.
Yeah, just a little bit. Even Oklahoma, they have significantly more water than us. We're literally in a desert. And so our water is an issue. That's why they have the ability to lower the plant counts, because what uses water? Plants. Yep. So what do? You lower the plant counts, especially when the market isn't asking for that much. So that's all I have for this bill. Hopefully it fails. I don't know what's going on. By the time the show ends, I'm probably going to jump on to see if they've got to it yet, or if I got a message that, hey, it passed, unfortunately. But we'll see. I'll keep fighting. Guys, contact your representatives. Make them understand the implications of this. The impact of this is huge. And if this happens, we're just going to be another Washington and Oregon, because they went this route and they didn't figure out how to limit certain things. Like people tell me like, oh, you guys should go to a canopy space thing. I'm like, there's ways around that too. They're always going to find some way around it. And then it's like, well, you just got bigger plants. And I'm like, okay, what about, it's a bigger plant. Who cares? Like, is it different from a smaller plant? No, it just takes a little bit more time. Yep. And to be honest, you can't keep the quality up when you just throw more plants at it. Like if the quality goes down. And we've seen that, in the micro experiment that we have here in New Mexico with the micro businesses and the producers are showing us that lower plant counts equals better quality. Some of you might be able to do it with a couple thousands or whatever, but once you start going to the 10,000, 20,000 count, that gets really hard.
Yep.
You know, and to keep up that very good, consistent quality is, I wouldn't say damn near impossible, but it's really, really hard and very expensive. You know, it's very costly. So that's all I have for this bill. Again, contact your representatives. You know, something like this is very harmful for the industry, and be careful what you ask for, because like I said, those of you that wanted the retail closed, you didn't get that. You got something worse. So we're going to move on. This is the last bill I want to talk about before we talk about the drinks, which I want to talk about on the show. This one actually came out, of course, like I think the day of my show airing last week. So of course I didn't get to talk about it on the show. I heard about it a few hours before it dropped on the website. This is the insurance covering cannabis or medical cannabis costs. Yeah. This is huge for the nation, really. Yeah. No other state is doing this. And to be honest, I don't have a lot of hopes for this, but at the same time, I do have a little hope, and there's a few reasons. I'll give you guys my analysis. So, New Mexico State Supreme Court has ruled several times that cannabis is a medicine in New Mexico, and they also ruled that it can't be taxed because of that. Also, New Mexico worker comp, they have to reimburse you for your medical cannabis too. So there's that. Also, there's a lawsuit, and I think it's Ultra Health versus Blue Cross Blue Shield, where Ultra Health is essentially trying to do this exact same thing, force the cannabis or the insurance companies to pay for the cannabis. Now, I believe Ultra Health has something to do with this bill, obviously, because it's similar. And I think either their lawsuit is going their way, and they feel that because they want to get ahead of the ruling and how this works, or they're throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what's really going to stick. Yeah. But this bill will force them to cover medical cannabis. That means Medicaid, doesn't matter, insurance. This is huge. And if this passes, I don't know how well it's going to go. I'm sure we're going to get kickback from the insurance companies, federal legal, this and that. It'll be a shit show for a while. There's going to be lawsuits and everything. But I feel something like this needs to happen, because we figure it out. We need to test it to see if we can. We'll send it to the courts, have the courts figure it out. And that's what they're there for, interpretation. You know, like the insurance company can interpret it one way, but it doesn't matter when the courts interpreted it. You know, like the courts are the last say in that matter. So I would hope this passes, just for the fact that I want to see where it goes. You know, and to be honest, this really wouldn't hurt anybody. And I've had a couple people comment, oh, the cannabis there is going to go up in price. And I'm like, to be honest, that might be better, because some people really tank the price here. You know, the big guys with the 20,000 plants, they really tank the price for cannabis. Some of them did it on purpose. And that was their plan. So they can get the smaller guys out, so they can close licenses and be the only ones. See where I'm going with this, guys? It all kind of dominoes. So to me, you know, that might help out a little bit. Yeah, it's affordable, but the quality isn't there. You know, it's not like it's cheap but good. You know, it's cheap because it's cheap. You know, like, you know, you can get a $50 ounce. You know, you can get sometimes a $25 ounce, but it's not going to be quality. And that's kind of where I'm getting at is, you know, we got to really strengthen this and test the waters. And what a better way. I mean, what's your thoughts on this?
I honestly feel like it is. So when it comes to insurance, I had to really process that thought there, because I felt like the internet connection back in the early 90s. I had to really process it and kind of congest it. With insurance companies, I do think that you should be able to use that for cannabis. If you're able to use it for Viagra or something like that, then I feel like, why not cannabis? I think the only thing is that we have to be prepared for the kickback from insurance companies, because there's going to be a few of them that I can already see that are going to laugh at it and be like, absolutely not. And it's like, okay, why not? Why? And that should be the main question on why we ask and what we're asking, because most people will be like, well, yeah, you guys feel that way, and you guys are kind of giving people or insurance companies a reason why they shouldn't. But I think that the main question should be is why, and then just let them talk. Essentially, they'll let you know that it's all because of money, and most insurance companies want to keep their money. But if you're paying for a service, and a lot of us are putting our money into Social Security for Medicaid, I think that should be something that we should have an open discussion about and be able to implement, because there are a lot of folks that do need it just as much as there are other medications, and it should be something that is covered. At the end of the day, these are things that we have, again, fought for. And as far as our health, that's a big thing. And I think the one thing that I can see as well with this is a lot of the pharmaceutical companies giving us like shit for it, excuse my language, but because insurance companies do work with pharmaceuticals. If we're using cannabis to help out with things that pharmaceuticals can't do anymore, and the cannabis is taking more of that, I can definitely see like a lot of headbutting and even a lot of more disagreements and discussions. So we just have to be prepared for that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately that's going to be the big thing. And a lot of them are going to use the federal with that. But as New Mexico, and being the first state to actually accept it as medicine and have medical program, being the first in like the United States to do that. When was it? Back in the 70s, I believe, right? So I think that because we have that background already, it should be more accepting. We just have to be prepared for all of the things that could possibly happen. It's always having I always say this, have a backup plan to back up the backup plan.
Yeah.
So as long as we have something going with that part, I feel like it's something that could happen. And us as retailers, manufacturers and all that should also be prepared with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't like to say when it does happen for us, we should be able to provide our customers and our patients with something that they can utilize, but not gouge it to the point where it's like an inhaler or an EpiPen, where it's like, oh, now it's $500 an ounce. Absolutely not.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's make sure that we're still thinking about the patient while still trying to make something happen with insurance companies.
Yeah, and I hope we don't see certain companies try to corner that insurance market where you can only get your cannabis paid for if it comes from X dispensary or X company. That's something that scares me in the end, with it, because that takes away from the patient, because not every city has that particular dispensary, I'm sure. And you're really screwing the rural patient over. So that's kind of my concern. Do I see this passing? No, but I do have small hopes for it. I don't believe it has 3 committees. Usually when you have like more than 2 committees, it's like death by committee for the bill. It really won't go anywhere. So I do believe it only has 2 in this house, or in this chamber. And I think it has 2 in the next, or we'll have 2 in the next. So we'll see. But it hasn't had its first hearing date, so I have no clue how the legislature is going to be about this. We'll see. But I'll keep you all posted on it. And that's really all I have for that one, and the bills and the updates and everything. Hopefully the production pause thing, went in a positive way for us, which means it failed. But we'll see. Maybe once it gets to the floor, if it does, they'll knock some sense into people when it comes to that. And maybe I'll have some time to talk to some representatives this weekend too. But let's move on to our last topic. And this is the topic that I really wanted to talk about, is the drinks, the cannabis drinks. And to be honest, the conversation keeps popping up. I got tagged in a post today about a study that came from the British Food Journal. And it states that 53 to 56% of beer drinkers are open to trying cannabis drinks, meaning, making a switch or at least trying. And that's huge. I'm not sure what the American numbers are. I don't think they've done that study yet, or whatever. But we have cannabis drinks in America. So our study would probably look a little bit different. Not, would a beer drinker try it? As like, how many beer drinkers have made the transition? That would probably be our study here. But, we could have a similar one. I have no clue. So I'm excited to see where this goes, because even in this article, they're saying that the future is drinks. And I've said this before, like my friend Josh gave me shit. He calls me Chastradamus because of the predictions and stuff I make. But, I don't think this is one that I'm wrong on. I think 10 to 15 years, we'll see drinks as the number one way to consume cannabis. And someone that's running a consumption lounge, and we've talked about the drinks thing. How many drinks do you go through in a week, just with the market now?
In a week, we go anywhere. Well, we also look at this analytically. So what kind of week are we having? Is it is it a holiday or anything like that? So on a regular week, just through consumption, we'll go through anywhere between 100 and 150 drinks in a week.
Yeah.
But they're also in different types of milligrams.
Yeah.
So we have microdose, we have a higher dose, but the higher doses are only through retail.
Yeah.
What we have through consumption is much more microdose, and it's so that you can enjoy your time while you're there.
Yeah.
But yeah, drinks, that has been my thing, and that's again how I got into with MJ Espresso, was making drinks for them. So I have been on this boat with you, just on different sides.
Yeah.
So yes, I do believe that we are in the future. The future is now.
Yeah, you're right.
The way that the way that we are going about it is just being able to figure out how we can change them up. Drinks are ever changing.
Yeah.
So we do have, our drinks that we have like in wholesale and all of that, but we also are going to be creating some drinks for our consumption lounge and for other consumption lounges to also enjoy.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we're all about collaboration, and we want to work with other consumption lounges because we may not have, another consumption lounge may, and again, it's all about the customer and the patient that's coming to us.
Yeah.
So in doing that, I feel like you're also being able to try different types of drinks that there are in the market. I know that there's Dixie. I know that there's we have Baked Chicken Farm. Shout out to them. They're amazing.
Yeah. Stone 8.
Yep. Stone 8.
Makes some
They're
really
amazing
good drinks.
too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different types of drinks that you can get out there. It's just what it is that you're looking for.
Yeah.
And they're, again, ever changing. You have everything from carbonated drinks to just mellow out drinks. So right now, the future is looking bright for drinks. And I have been saying this for a while, but now being in the consumption lounge and being able to provide these drinks for people to be able to enjoy inside, that is something awesome too, because a lot of people that were part of the bar scene are now trying to have something that's a little bit more calmer.
Yeah.
So with that, we can go ahead and utilize that. And then for us, we actually do have a non-smoking section. So if you do just want to have your drink, be able to have your food, you can do that as well. These are the options that everybody should have, whether you smoke or you're able to have it in an edible or in a topical. You should be able to enjoy cannabis the way that you want to.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that cannabis will never be smoked again. It's just not going to be the number one way. Right now, the number one way is smokable products. It'll maybe be number 2 or 3. But number one will be drinks, and drinks will be king one day. And the reason why I say that is it's less offensive. No one can literally say anything because they're most likely drinking something too.
Correct.
There's no complaints from people, just smells in general. There's none of this stigma around it for some reason when you smoke. And to be honest, we made smoking the devil in the 90s, and we've kind of continued with that. And that meant smoking anything, And so now we're kind of backtracking like, well, smoking anything's bad except cannabis. And it's kind of like, I don't know. Like, how long are we going to be able to hold on to that, before it gets to be like, no, that's actually not the case. And the science catches up, which science is already catching up. And every doctor I talk to tells me to stop smoking, stop smoking, stop smoking. Yeah. So I'm like, okay. And to be honest, my body's kind of maybe telling me the same thing too. And I think drinks might be that route. But my message to the drink makers, please stop making them so damn sweet. You can literally put an elephant to a diabetic coma with some of these drinks. And I'm not, just singling anybody out or anything. Your drinks are really great, to be honest, and not too sweet, which I do enjoy. But some of them I tried, I'm like, oh, that's like syrup. I'm like, whoa, you don't have to mask the weed with that, man. That's crazy. You can get bitter. Like, I want a Bloody Mary or, a Bloody Jane, kind of drink thing too. I want something spicy, something bitter, and, you have the vegetable stuff in there too with the V8.
Yes, and that's actually something that we're going to be doing in our consumption lounge.
Oh, dope.
So we're going to be doing, there's certain events that we're going to have kind of like a open bar type of aesthetic, or where you could go ahead and make your own type of Bloody Mary, but with cannabis. So the possibilities with drinks are endless, and that's what I love about it, and that's what I've always loved about it. So being able to have the consumption lounge to be able to make something different, that is an opener, and I don't understand why. I know I've seen other people do it, and that's amazing, and I love that they're doing it, especially with CBD drinks. Chef Charlene, shout out to her, she's doing an amazing job with those. And the People's Dispensary, they've worked with us as well. They're amazing. We know that we could go ahead and do that, and we shouldn't be scared to dip our toes into that. Yeah. So with us, there's a few different events as well as that we're doing, like a Boss to Bosses, which is having a lot of the females in cannabis get together and be able to have the space for them to be able to enjoy, like I always keep on saying. And that's going to be one of them, where we're going to be able to enjoy some different types of mocktails where they're just not like a Cosmopolitan or whatever. You can have yourself your spicy, your bitters, be able to have a slush, a milkshake. Those are the types of things that we're gearing towards. So I'm super excited because it shouldn't just be fruit drinks and sodas and coffees, we can go ahead and touch every part that we can with drinks.
Oh, dude, I agree with you on that because like it's so wide. Like you can have a milkshake brand called Boys to the Yard. You know,
exactly.
you know, like it opens it up to so many things, and you know, even ice cream. You know, like there's ice cream in the state now. You know, and some of them are really good. Like Dutch Bliss. Shout out to Dutch Bliss. He makes a really good. Actually, it's not even ice cream. It's whatchamacallit.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's
like caliche. It's not ice cream.
Yes.
It's whatchamacallit. Huh?
Custard.
Custard.
There you go.
I needed help from my producer on that one. Custard.
Stoners.
Yeah, it's a custard. I love custard. You know, it's a medicated or infused custard, and it's really good. He uses hash rosin, and you know, it opens up for Rupert Float. You know, stuff like that.
Exactly.
And, you know, I think that would be great. You know, and with drinks, you can have a 2 milligram. You can have 100 milligram. You know, you could do a shot essentially. You know, with the nano-emulsified technology getting better and everything, you know, and, you know, it's really not that hard of a process. You can do it in a smaller lab. It's just you're not going to be able to do as much as other people. Some might be more of a specialty thing, maybe more the shots. So I really like the fact that you guys are going towards more of like the mixed drinks, you know, because I think that's the next level for the drinks, because we've seen on the hemp side and the hemp derived that, you know, they're in restaurants, they're in bars, they're in gas stations. You know, you can get them essentially at sporting event venues. So it's becoming normalized on that sense. So, I mean, we may see this become number one consumption for cannabis faster than 10 years if things change on the federal front sometime soon. If not, it may be that 10, 15 years. That's why I'm giving it that much time, because right now we're kind of in a stall when it comes to something changing at the federal level. We're a lot of uncertainties going on. You know, one area yes, one area no, and another area fuck no. So you know, it's kind of weird, and it's all over the place, and we have no clue what's going to go on. I don't think we're going to get cannabis legalized on the federal level with any time in the next few years. It looks kind of grim in that sense. So let's hold on to what we have right now. We could bet on descheduling, but I don't know. I don't think that's going to happen. I think
right now anything's possible at this point. So I would hope that it's something that we can. But to go into that is like doing a cold plunge, and if you're not prepared for it, it's gonna hurt.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I'm curious to see where it goes in the end. But I am excited to see where drinks go, because now we are seeing it. You know, going to your dispensary, I get a drink every time. And when I'm there, I see people drinking the whole time too. You know, they're all getting drinks. And there's times where we're like, oh, we're making a new batch because, you know, you sold out or something. And no big deal, because you guys can make it right then and there. And it's awesome. And I love that. And, you know, they're good, you know, like they're like a Kool-Aid kind of taste, you know, but not too sweet, you know, and I really like that. And I'm really excited to see these mixed drinks for sure, you know, like get a margarita.
Yes. We're going to be doing a whole bunch of different stuff, especially because our consumption lounge is also open to be rented as an event space. So we utilize that, where we have a lot of the folks that are utilizing our space, and we ask them, okay, well, what kind of drinks are you looking for? And then we give ourselves enough time to be able to get everything tested, doing it everything the right way, making sure that we have our SOPs with that as well. So anything that you could think of, again, we have that suggestion box, because we want to be able to make something new. It's not about what we're looking for. It's about what we know that our community is looking for. And that is one of the big things that I've been getting is, what other drinks could we get? Because we have the restaurant, which is something that is new to New Mexico. So we want to be able to provide a different experience while you're still being able to like watch your games and be able to enjoy the company of your friends. So being able to have something like that, as well as I feel like it helps. It helps with being able to like get yourself out of being in the bar scene and being able to like work on, you know, being able to use cannabis as something different instead of alcohol. So being able to have those fun times and being able to have those types of drinks is pretty awesome. And I can't wait to be able to show you what we got.
Oh, I'm excited.
Up our sleeve.
I'm excited because, you know, I'm excited just to see where this goes, because there's so much possibilities for this. And, you know, sky's the limit when it comes to drinks. You know, we're used to drinking most things anyway when it comes to consumption of things. So, you know, why not cannabis too? And to be honest, I mean, Gino holds up a Celsius right now. Our energy and everything like that. So, I mean, that's all I have for the drinks thing. You know, I just thought it was a really cool thing to see that, you know, even over in the UK, you know, a lot of their beer drinkers are curious about cannabis drinks. And it's probably because they've heard about it here in America and it's so lucrative on the hemp-derived side. And now the regular THC side is really taken off more. You know, it's kind of been there, but now it's just really taken off. Because drinks have been here since I've been a patient. They've just haven't been that great.
Yes, it has been a process.
Yes, yeah.
But I have literally poured my heart and soul into the drinks that we have at 420. Marvina, she has really just had an open heart to me in being able to make something for New Mexico where it's tasty. It's something that you could have with your meal, and we really had to make our drink where you can't really taste the cannabis in it, but of course it's always going to have something. But just her being able to be like, you know what, if you think this is going to work, let's do it. The openness that she has for 420 and her being the CEO and just being like, this is my baby. Let's see how we can make this thing grow. That is amazing to me because for her to just be open to what our community is saying, not a lot of people do that.
No. Yeah,
so
you're right.
When I genuinely ask you guys to give us your suggestions, send them over. I genuinely feel like this is something where we could keep on building with the community and be able to provide something different to them. Yeah. So you want Bloody Marys? Let's get them.
Like, yeah, I'm down. I love a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, do it.
Bloody Janes.
Bloody Janes just for you guys. Yeah, do it.
Bloody Janes for those out there. Well, thank you so much again for joining me, Donna. It's been a great conversation, and you did an amazing job, and keep doing an amazing job at the lounge too. You guys are on the right track, and I can't wait to see what happens for it. So those of you out there, thank you so much for watching. That's all I have for this week. Make sure you like, subscribe, whatever you got to do to stay in the know, and I will be back next week with your legislative update. All right, guys, shoots.